Hey y'all, it's Kyle with Inshore Edge. Today, our goal is just to go fishing and to find fish and catch fish. Now, I want to run through the steps on how to go about doing that. So, background, I have not been on the fish. I'm looking at about 3 weeks now. Boat was out of commission for a little bit, working on some fuel stuff. We are smack dab in the beginning of our spring, and all our fish are highly migratory right now. Trout are moving out, reds are moving, flounder coming in, baits all over the place, not in numbers, but scattered. So not the ideal time to get off your pattern or whatever you had, let alone a different pattern than the wintertime. So what I like to do in this situation, I don't go out thinking, you know what, I'm gonna go find the trout today, or I'm gonna go find the reds today, or I'm gonna go catch a bunch of flounder today. I like to find life first, meaning I find the food chain, because many of these species will be together or close by based off the food chain and how it's presenting itself that day. And so when I say food chain, I'm talking about life. I'm talking about mullet, pogies, shrimp if there's any out. Where's the bait? Where's the food source congregating? And you'll see, as you find them, you'll find areas that are quote unquote alive. Life everywhere, bait everywhere, predatory species everywhere, but it's not everywhere. Certain areas will hold a lot of these fish. And so when you find that, surely if you have a preference and you want to kind of dial that pattern into a certain species, go for it. But you got to find them first. And so that's what I hope to show you today. You got to start somewhere. And so we are almost a dead low tide starting to incoming. And a lot of the areas I think I may go today, generally speaking from a seasonality, because I'm not totally blind. I've got a couple springs to go off of so far, even though conditions are different every spring, every year. But I got a lot of low water. So I'm going to start around some docks. First thing I'm doing is I'm coming in, I got my side scan on, I'm looking for bait subsurface, and I'm looking for bait skipping on top. I'm looking for anything, any activity, anything like that as I come in here. Yes, I have a rod in hand, but mostly I'm looking right now. And I will leave it pretty quickly if I get the sense nothing is going on here. You'd be amazed when you learn to look. Fish will give themselves away. That's not always in the form of seeing a red or seeing a trout chasing anything crazy active that we kind of dream about, but it's more subtle often. Movement, wakes in the water, up shallow, bait getting nervous, bait acting a certain way. And so when I'm, again, trying to dial all this in, I come up to an area, I'm fishing right now, but I'm looking more so. It's really something to do while I'm looking. I'm also fishing a lure that gets bit. This is a shaky head, Berkeley Max scent hitworm. It's a 4.5 inch worm. It's got the Berkeley Max scent. It's just an easy meal. Easy meal for whatever comes across. So that doesn't mean I'm gonna fish with that all day, but I'm gonna kind of use it as a search bait for right now. And you can see in this area, I got a lot of structure in here. And so that shaky head is also weedless. It allows me to kind of cast where I want to cast, regardless of whether I'm worried about snags. Now, like I've talked about in the past, if there's mullet in an area, they're not always jumping. They're not always on the surface. A lot of times they'll just sit on the bottom when they're inactive. And so that's why you really need to pay attention to your side scan. You'd be amazed at the size of mullet schools you'll see on side scan. And there's no way to tell. There's a fish. Might be a flounder, I think. There we go, y'all. Great start to the day. Nice flounder. Check this out. You gotta love when a good bite messes up my teaching right off the bat. "17-inch flounder. Pretty cool, huh? I'm not keeping today, so she gets to swim. But what I'm getting at is if there happens to be more flounder in this spot, when you get flounder congregating, a lot of them, or numbers doing the same thing, that is very telling and can really help you dial them in for that day. So I love fishing. We've got so much going on. If y'all saw my previous video about shaky head, in the wintertime, I was talking, I believe that it's going to be effective for flounder too. And so we'll see how that plays out. But great start though, right off the bat with a shaky head worm. Flounder killed it good. There's a fish. It's another flounder, y'all. They are feeding right now, y'all. Like most things, you want to say it's just the bait, and I know this is a good bait, but they're definitely feeding too. They're hitting it soon as it comes across. It's another good fish. Choked it. That worm is inside. Nowhere to be seen. About a 15-inch fish. Didn't bring a cooler today. Might have a nice mess of flounder the way this is going. So I'm in 3 feet of water right now. Again, like I said, we're at low tide, and so this upper area, that gets in a foot or less. It's real shallow. And so I'm just kind of, deep is relative, you know. If the water in an area is shallow enough to where you don't believe those fish are up shallow yet, doesn't mean you have to go out to 10 feet. These fish are going to adjust based off where they want to go and where they're feeding on. So 3 feet may just be deep enough for them to wade out, and then they'll move up with the tide. So keep that in mind. You don't have to think, oh, it's low tide, I need to go out deep, 8-10 feet. Not necessarily the case at all. I don't know if y'all can see, up in that tree is nesting bald eagles sitting there watching me fish. No other explanation why they're looking in this direction. They gotta be watching me fish. Audience of 2. If that's not patriotism right there, the 2 most patriotic animals, or the 1 most patriotic animal in our nation watching me fish, America. Nice trout. Try to hit that shaky head, player. There we go. Look at that. Got a 15-inch fish. Hit that worm. Oh, nope, nope. Got a lot of mullet in here. And I just caught that trout. I think I'll switch it up a bit. Little pogies in here too. I'm gonna throw something more bait fish pattern instead of that worm. We're gonna go with that Texas Custom Lures Jay Watkins series. Little mid-strolling minnow bait. Real natural color. So I'm gonna start mid-strolling. See if there's more trout in here. You got your different tools on the deck, just like that. 5 seconds, I'm flexing to something else. Pick it up, throw it. based off a condition change. Conditions changed. Like I said, I got a lot of bait fish around me all of a sudden. I had a keeper trout just show himself. I'm seeing some other fish on side scan. I changed my presentation. Like I mentioned, I really like the mid-stroll. It's a nice fish. Might be another flounder. It's a nice trout. Love the mid-stroll when I get in shallow. I got bait, shallow waters. Such a good presentation when these fish are already, all within 3 feet, 4 feet. It's a nice keeper trout. There you go, look at that, Quick little flex. That's what all it took. It's a perfect example why I like to keep all the tools on deck. Be efficient with the different techniques. Be ready to jump on the opportunity when it presents itself. I know I keep talking about it, but I cannot impress upon you enough the importance of finding that bait. I've caught some fish this morning, but far and away this has got the most bait, and sure enough, boom. 2 keeper trout, just like that. These fish will always be near the food. We know that, you know that. It's common sense, right? It's easy to lose track of that when you get out here. You get distracted. There's a lot of distractions. Namely, going to your spots where you caught them before, giving that spot way too much time, hours sometimes, and not paying attention. Is there bait there? Is there food? Because if there's not, just because you caught them there before does not mean they're going to be there next time. It just doesn't work like that. These predatory species will not sit on a spot without food. They do not have favorites. Please understand that. These spots are feeding opportunities, and many of them offer better opportunities than others based off structure and current. But you gotta have the food source. Dang it, y'all. Thought I was recording this last fish. I was not. Big old flounder. Got a measure, and she's like 18, 19 inches. Missed the whole fight. Good fight, man. She had me a run and everything. Oh well, it's part of filming. Let's get a pic though. She measured 19 inches and she's still swimming. There's a fish. That's a good one too. That's a good fish there. Golly. He's got some shoulders on him. He's trying to get to his pines. There he is. Come on, buddy. Get away from there. Get away from there. It's a big trout, I think. Now it's red. A little red, not a big trout. It's cool though. There you go. In his mouth. Catch a little bit of everything with it, huh? Pretty cool. There might be enough water for me to get in and fish the down current side. A little bit better presentation. It's a nice thing about this Avid is I can get really shallow. Yeah, got about 1.3 feet, about a foot and a half. So I can bring my bait with the current much better, more realistic, and catch any fish on the down current side of these pilings. So they're like up on the flat, facing the current. Knowing that still a lot of bait fish in the deeper channel waiting for the right depth to move up on the flat. So it's like a mini highway from bait in the channel coming up onto the flat as the water comes in. There it is. Oh, yes, sir. Just like I thought, they're in here. Another nice little red. Not big. Fun though. There we go. A little 17-inch red maybe. Curious. Right at 18. Just be a keeper. Not big. I ain't keeping, so it gets to go. So that's what they're doing, y'all. If you didn't know any better, you would just guess they're hanging out in the shade. There's a lot more to this than just shade. This is the structure, the current break where they can ambush bait coming up in here. These pilings. And there's a depth change right under the bridge too. There he is. There he is. Another red. A little bit better fish there. Oh, about the same size. There he is. He was swimming with it that time. Yes, sir. A little red. They're all cookie cutters. 16 to 18. Pretty cool though. Choking that worm, boy. Right at 18, so that's a couple keepers out of the 4. The fillet size reds. But this is the beauty of fishing, right? You can keep just fishing, or you can maybe figure out, are there bigger fish here? Because these smaller fish are here for a reason. And that, like I said, that food source is that bait coming from the deeper channel up onto this shallow flat, this feeding flat. And they're just sitting in this current break underneath this bridge, feeding. So it's perfectly reasonable to think maybe bigger reds are in here doing the same, but where are they? What is slightly different about this, each one of these little slots that might hold bigger reds? And so always keep the wheels spinning, always be learning. Opportunities within opportunities to get better and learn something. Hey, I'll just want to give you a little recap on how the day went. As you'll see in the video, I talked about putting patterns together, especially when you're not really sure where the fish are, which was the case in my estuary, our back bay area specifically today. So you just started piecing together. I'm throwing a confidence bait. It's funny, I call it a confidence bait, but inshore, about the only third time I've used it inshore. So that's your Berkeley Maxent hit worm on just a shaky head jig, screw lock shaky head jig. But that's how effective it's been, is it's become a confidence bait real quick. Caught a lot of bass on that in years past, but throwing that today, put, I think it was like 8 or 9 flounder in the boat, several good ones. Definitely would have had a mess to keep if I was keeping. And a couple trout, and I even gotten some reds where I quit after about 8 or 9 reds. They were 16 to 18 inches, but I had 3 that were 18 inches. That would have been my limit if I was keeping fish today. So I was able to get into a bunch of fish, and maybe more importantly, like to talk about earlier, I was able to figure out where the life is in our bay. Like I said, everything's real migratory this time of year. We got trout moving out, we got reds kind of milling about, we got flounder coming in. I was able to kind of nail down where there's a lot of bait, meaning a lot of mullet, a lot of pogies, menhaden, and a lot of fish in that general area. And so I'll be able to capitalize that hopefully in the next week or two, or at least stay close to these fish, because these fish will move a little bit every day, and it's just part of the migration. But I have a good idea of where to start next time. And so, but the key everywhere I fished today was just letting the patterns that I learned throughout the day dictate where I went. I didn't just spot hop. I didn't just hop from my honey hole to honey hole to honey hole based off memories. I kind of started in a general area, general meaning maybe 10-mile distance on our back bay system, where I thought the fish might be based off the past couple of years this time of year. And then I just let what I was seeing, like, so I was seeing mullet or not, got a few bites early on, a few flounder, kind of could figure out what they're doing. I saw what they were doing relating to structure, what kind of depth they wanted to be in based off the tides that morning. And then as we had an incoming tide throughout the day, these fish, like they always do, they started moving up shallower. And so, yeah, it was just based following the patterns to not only get on the fish, get back on the fish, but have a great day. Like I said, if I was keeping, I would have had a mess to keep, a lot of good eating. And so again, it was pretty much all on that hit worm. This is basically, I'm hopping this guy on the bottom, I'm maintaining bottom contact the whole time. Flounder love it. I mean, they smoke it. Reds love it. When you come across reds, I have all the confidence in the world that you bounce this by a red, they're gonna crush it. And then I even catch trout on it. Now I will say the trout fishing to this point, I haven't caught a lot. I've caught maybe 6 or 7 on 6 or 7. I don't even know if that's the thing anymore. My teenagers don't say it, so maybe it's not. But we'll say 7. Say 7 trout. But I'm pretty sure every one of them was when I was lifting it up, like at the end of the retrieve, lifting a bait up off the bottom, so bringing it up in the water column and they dunk it. Maybe one other time, for whatever reason, I hopped it big. So they're not picking it up off the bottom. It's kind of like when I bring it up off the bottom, but they do instinctively hit it though. So it'd be interesting how that plays out with the trout. I'm not quite sure at this point if it's ever gonna be like a go-to bait for trout specifically, but it is nice to know that I can throw this, and if there are trout in the area, I've got a relatively good chance of catching them. And so a great finder bait to then dial in. And so speaking of to dial in, so I could have veered off and just fished for flounder today. Numbers wise, it kind of seemed like I did, but that's not exactly what I was doing. As I figured out what the flounder are doing in this general area, I have other areas that historically have a lot of flounder on them. I could have just kept hitting flounder spots and really probably caught a lot more, as good as today was. Same with reds. I found some reds in an area that I could have just veered off and just stayed on those reds. Picked those apart, could have thrown some other baits that I also like for redfish. But I just kept working the pattern. Today was a discovery today, and it's great when you're discovering and catching plenty, so that was pretty nice. And then there was even a spot where I found some trout, and as you'll see, I caught one on the Texas Custom Lures Jay Watkins series. Little mid-strolling bait here, a little 5-inch bait, beautiful color there, electric. I think it's like electric shad color, I'm not sure what they call it. I don't know, it's got a number, but it's like an electric shad color in a lot of baits. Caught a trout on that, and if I wanted to, I gave that about 30 minutes, but I found a good population of trout and mullet, and I could have just stayed on that. And I'll follow back on that. I'm actually we're not quite done with the day. I'm gonna fish the last couple hours of daylight back where those trout were, and so maybe that'll be a little separate video. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna throw some big baits. But anyhow, I hope I was able to show you something about today about how to break down, how to get on fish. It's really important to practice the things I talked about, because you can use those tools as you get familiar with them to find fish often, wherever you go, whether you're going to a new area, whether you're going to a familiar area that you haven't been on the water in a while. Say, heaven forbid, you get sick or you get injured and you have boat problems and you're just not on the water for a while. This was great for being able to refamiliarize and relocate these fish. So feel free to ask questions in the comments. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please, that'd be awesome. The more the merrier, and I'm trying to grow. And definitely like and follow on the Facebook page and videos. The more views, the better. All right, I appreciate it. This has been Kyle with Inshore Edge.